In our previous video, we were looking at the elements of a focus group, starting with settings and participants. In this video, let's look at moderators and the discussion guide. So let's just scroll here. So first we need to define what we mean by moderator. A moderator is a person hired by the client. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Person hired by the client to lead the focus group. So you might be the client and the researcher who is doing this, or it might be that the company, the organization has hired you, the research consultant, to lead the focus group. So whoever is leading the discussion. Now, what does it mean to be an effective moderator? An effective moderator is a person who has good people skills. That is, they show a genuine interest in people. When you're conducting a focus group, people are coming in to your conference room or kind of living room setting that you've created, and you need them to feel comfortable to talk to each other and talk to you. So that means that there's a lot of small talk that you have to do. You're showing genuine interest in them. That's not just superficial. You're able to get people engaged. And so if we were doing this course in a face-to-face experience, what I would have you do at this point is practice making small talk. So typically what I do in a face-to-face version of this class is I have everyone put topics into a hat, we shake them up. You go stand in front of somebody else, you pull the topic out of the hat, and for a whole minute, you have to talk about whatever topic it is. And so these are lots of topics about nothing, but you have to be engaged, which means that you have to show good listening skills, good observation skills. You should have to show an interest in a wide range of topics. So you need to be able to talk and converse about all kinds of different things. And because your participants are going to be a variety of people, you need to show acceptance and appreciation of the differences in people. So you are accepting everyone for who they are and the ideas that they bring forward. You got to be able to immerse yourself in the topics and have the necessary knowledge. So one of the challenges, right, is that if you are a research consultant, if you're doing this for clients, those topics that you're hired to do focus groups on may not be things that you are an expert in. And so it's really about being able to at least know a bit to get then others to tell you more information about their area of expertise, right? So you need to be able to talk about both nothing, the small talk, as well as probe and ask relevant questions to the topic at hand. So I recommend, if you are preparing for this, come up with a list of a couple different small talk topics, and then today, give them a try. See how well you can do at making small talk. Now, when you are a moderator, you got to be careful that your personal biases and opinions don't sway others. So objectivity is very important. You need to be able to probe and ask questions without influencing how they respond. If we're doing this for marketing research purposes, we got to know some basics on marketing. If we're doing this in terms of more psychology, we need to know some basics in psychology, whatever the field is that's relevant to what you're doing your focus group on. But whoever the moderator is, they have to be flexible. So if the participants go a different direction than you expect, you got to kind of move with it. You'll create a discussion guide that is the kind of the key points you want to hit, but the discussion guide is not overly detailed to allow you the flexibility to kind of go where the conversation leads. Now, you'll need the ability to kind of pull them back if they go too far off topic. But one of the reasons we do focus groups is to explore and have them give us information and where we don't actually already know the answers, right? If we already knew the answers, we would do a survey and just see if everyone agreed. But the part of the focus group is to get them to tell you things you don't already know or haven't already thought about, which means you need to be flexible with where they go. You got to have attention to detail because we're trying to get at particular information. You got to be able to recognize when you're losing people in the group and they're no longer paying attention, kind of pull them back and engage them, which means it has to be a high level of energy. You also got to be well organized because we have that discussion guide. We need to hit those key pieces within that limited time. And focus groups, you're really restricted to that 1 hour. That's not a lot of time. If you have 8 to 12 people who all have opinions, that is not a lot of questions that are going to be answered in that short amount of time. Seems like it's forever when you're planning it, but it goes very quickly. And so you have to be well organized. You also have to have good communication skills. Now, you're going to have a team. It won't just be you. You're going to have a team. Now, that team should not be bigger than the number of people that are participating. So your team might include someone who is taking notes. You might have someone who is helping just to make sure everyone's engaged. Remember, you might have your client behind the glass, so you might have someone from your team with the client. So whenever you're creating a team, every person on that team needs to have a role. There must be something they are doing. They should not just be standing around and watching, because remember, if you just sit and stare at people, then it changes how they behave, how they respond, and you want your participants to be comfortable. So they don't want to feel like they are being watched. They want everyone who's in that room in your focus group to be doing something related to the focus group. Now, likely you're going to have someone taking notes. They're probably also going to be operating any recording device just to make sure it is set to record and it continues to record. So you can also have them taking notes as backup. And when it comes to taking notes and collecting data from a focus group, we have notes and we have quotes. So notes, these are the key themes, the things that they're bringing out. And then the quotes is the word for word what they said, which you will use to support. So when you do your analysis and you make recommendations and give your report, you're going to say, well, their focus was on these themes or their priorities. So if we are doing a focus group from the BBA, their focus was on having more choices. More choices is the way the courses are delivered, evenings, weekends, online. More variety in terms of I can choose which options, different topics, different majors. Those were the notes. Those are kind of the key themes that came out. The quotes would be the exact words they said we would use in our report. No identifying information about the participants because it's confidential, but we would use a quote to back up or support our argument that this was a key theme that came out. So the way that you analyze, at least the basic analysis of a focus group, we'll get later to machine learning and AI and analysis of text, your notes and your quotes. But for now, in terms of that basic analysis, we would use the quotes to back up any of the themes that we identified in our notes. Okay. All right. So we have our team. Everybody has a task. Everybody's doing something. And when you are moderating, you need to, well, here's some kind of tricks of the trade for moderators. Okay. Remember, you need to engage people, which means that you need to build a rapport quickly. So how do you take people you just met, they just walked in the door, how do you get them comfortable enough to start chatting with you? Well, we make meaningful eye contact. We learn and remember their names. So we are then calling our participants by name. You'll recall let's see if I can get it back up again. The video we looked at here, we saw at the very beginning they had some name cards. So using name cards so that you remember then who they are, identifying them by name in the focus group, that helps to build that rapport. So you can let them create their own name cards. You welcome them when they come in. We use that small talk, right? So you're getting to know them and getting them to feel comfortable. You're asking personal questions during the warm-up, not too personal, but enough that says, I care about you. And this isn't just, platitudes and, I really want to hear about you and what you have to say. You are important. You can ask your participants for assistance to help you do things, set things up to engage them. So you could think about, like, if you had a classroom full of students, how do you get those students to start participating in your class? We want them to actually participate. They have to feel comfortable and they have to feel valued. And if you can lighten things up with humor, so the people are laughing, they feel more comfortable with each other, that helps as well. You also want to get them to talk about deeper things, right? So part of our discussion guide is to kind of get them from talking about, very safe, generic things to the top priorities that you really care about, the reason you hosted this event to start with. So you're going to have to get them to dig deeper and think deeper. So how do you do that? Well, first you need to know at least a little bit about the discipline and the topic you're doing your focus group on. But then you can play naive or dumb and ask them to help you understand things and explain things. And then you want to ask questions to help them probe. Tell us more about that. Tell me an example of that. Can you give me an example of when that happened or when you felt this way? Okay. So you're trying to dig deeper. And you're going to have to keep them from drifting off topic. So what you can do is you can keep bringing them back to the discussion. What you can do, we saw that little whiteboard they had in that one video, is you can write up key themes on it. And if you're leaving a topic area or when you're finishing your focus group altogether, then you could say, okay, well, here's what I heard from the group. Does this address all the issues? Is this all the key concerns? Is this the top priorities? Is there anything missing? And that brings us back to make sure that we have fully represented and heard everything the group is saying. So when you are doing your focus group, you need to be prepared. We'll have that discussion guide already ready. And we need to be energized. You need to be nice but firm. So again, you might need to pull them back and make sure that everyone is comfortable in that experience. That's good. So I was going to make this one video, the moderator and the discussion guide, but let's cut it short. We'll end this video here, and the next video we'll talk discussion guide.